Good afternoon.
Afternoon, everybody.
Hi. So that's
Just if you need it.
if I need it, yeah.
Okay, welcome to the press conference ahead of Newcastle United v Borussia Dortmund. We'll have Eddie Howe now until 15:15, followed by Sean Longstaff. If there's anyone in the room who needs English-German translation, please let one of the guys know to the side. We'll give you a headset. Okay, we'll start with Keith Downey, Sky Sports.
Hi Eddie.
Hi Keith.
Nice to see you.
You too.
It feels as though the City is still on a high following that win against PSG a couple of weeks ago. I guess that the hope is that the fear was struck into other teams across Europe with that. Are you hoping that you've put fear into Borussia Dortmund ahead of this match?
Yeah, I think when you're in my shoes, I don't think you necessarily look at it that way. You look at the game in isolation. So we've been preparing and planning for this game since our last one. Tough game ahead. I think the beauty of the PSG game, looking back, was the whole environment created by the supporters, and I think we need to forget the PSG result, take the confidence from it, but forget it, and try and create that atmosphere all over again. And for us, try and recreate those energy levels and intensity levels and quality of our play to try and win the game.
In terms of the quality of opposition, I guess the colour that will come with the fans from both sides, the standards of opposition, it's another great game for your team to have in this competition, a real top test.
Well, I think that's how we need to look at it, is another real top test. This group was always going to be that way. So you go from AC Milan to PSG to Dortmund. I mean, it's great to be involved in. But as we said at the start of the group, we knew that this was a really tough examination of us. This is a key period in it now. We've made a good start, but we can't get ahead of ourselves. We just have to focus on what's ahead of us. And this is a pivotal game in the group, I think.
Are there any new injury worries from the weekend, and where are you with both Joe Willock and Sandro Tonali, who were both training today?
Yeah, Sandro's fit, fine. Obviously things going on, but the same as he was before Crystal Palace. Willock's getting closer with every day that passes. Sven is still out. I think apart from that, we're pretty similar.
Okay, Damien Spellman, then Lee Ryder. Damien?
Eddie, does the fact that... Sorry,
couldn't find you.
Does it enter your head that a win could put you in pole position to qualify for this from this group?
Well, I think we take a break from the Premier League, so of course we have to hone in now on this competition. It's a totally different thing. So yeah, we're aware of where we are. This game is a crucial game in the group, because following this game we have two really tough away games. So we know the task at hand. We know it's not going to be easy, but as I say, we have to use everything that we have in our armoury to try and win the game. The crowd's going to be key. Our own performance obviously going to be key. And we need to make it as difficult as we can for Dortmund.
Lee Ryder, then Jordan Cronin.
Eddie, the last game against PSG, the players were jumping in and getting the tackles in and then jumping up and celebrating the tackles. I mean, that's something great to see for the supporters.
Yeah, I think that showed where we were mentally. We were pumped for the game. The crowd were pumped for the game, and the two things together created a great thing for us. And I think from our side, it's not lost that we need to create that again. So whether we celebrate tackles or not, I don't know, but we need to recreate that level of intensity and that level of alertness that we were at. I think we're almost for that game, we're in the perfect place mentally. It's difficult to put yourself there. The circumstances need to create that. So that's where we've got to be again.
Jordan and then Craig Hope.
Hi, Eddie. Just one on Alexander Isak. Obviously got a big move to Dortmund, age 70. Didn't quite work out for him. Do you feel there's any part of the player that has a point to prove against his former club tomorrow?
I think it's one for Alex to answer, but I think for me, I'm really pleased with where he's at. Really pleased. Of course, with the West Ham game, his last start for us, I thought he was outstanding. Then he picked up a slight groin problem, but I think he's back to full fitness, fingers crossed, and he's trained really well in the build-up to this game. So I'm delighted where his career's at and where his performances have been for us. I can't speak about his time at Dortmund. That's something I'm not I don't have enough information on that. But I'm sure Alex will want to do well because it's our next game.
And does picking between Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson get any easier for you as time goes on?
I think the beauty of it is this year compared to last year is just the amount of games we have. I think it makes, sometimes the decision is made for you just because of, I've said before, both players are in different stages of their careers, and with the amount of games, I think it's really nice to pick and choose the opponents for the player.
Craig and then Luke Edwards.
Hi, Eddie. Do you expect Sandro to be available tomorrow, or is there a feeling now that news from Italy is close?
I think as far as I'm aware, I'm expecting him to be available tomorrow. I think I'm in a position where I'll plan like that until told differently. I can't second guess what's going to happen, so he's trained today and he's available.
There was a feeling that UEFA don't want him to be involved. Has that been communicated to you at all or not?
No, if that's the case, you know more than I do. I've heard very little because preparing the game and everything that goes into that, so I'll wait and hear if anything concrete comes through.
And just lastly, the reception you got on Saturday, have you spoken to him about that? How is he on the back of that?
No, I haven't. I think it was emotional at the end for him. I think that was clear to see for everybody. But I think that I said after the game sat here, I think that will help him long term, because I think he'll always be able to reflect back into that love that he got from the supporters in that moment when he really needed it. So I think that will help his long-term relationship, hopefully with the supporters. But as I say, beyond what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day, I don't know at this moment.
Luke Edwards and then Dominic Sker.
Just a couple, please. Just one on Tonali. Have you had any meetings with the board yet to discuss anything to do in terms of replacements?
No, it's a bit too early for that because we don't know what's going to happen. So I know there's a lot of rumours going around, but until we hear for definite, no, January and everything that will entail. We'll have time to prepare a strategy if we need one for that moment, but it's not yet.
And you spent an evening with Kevin Keegan last night. How was that, and what did you take away from it?
I think a few of you were there, weren't you? So you tell me.
I was wearing a baseball cap.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I don't know how it was, genuinely, I don't know how it was perceived, but for me, the chance to meet him personally and to speak with him and spend time with him was a brilliant thing. He's just got such a great personality. He was in really good form, really positive, a lot of jokes, a lot of laughter, but also a lot of emotion. And I could sense his emotion towards Newcastle. I could sense the emotion coming back from the people that were in the room. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope he did. And I'd love to get him back here again in some way to get the supporters to show their appreciation to him too.
Did he say he wanted you to win the Champions League? Or you're going to win it?
You might have took in more than I did at that moment. I'm not sure.
Dominic Sker.
Just in terms of your B list for tomorrow night, you mentioned no Louis Miley potentially. Are there any other young players who could be given that opportunity and named on that list for tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there'll be huge changes to that list. We trained with a group of players, and unless we had a real injury crisis, I wouldn't necessarily bring anyone else into it.
And Matt Ritchie pictured very much front and centre in training and involved. What's his role been behind the scenes going into these matches despite not being in the squad?
Well, Matty's been a role model for a lot of the players really in how you conduct yourself every day. His training attitude has been first class. He's very loud on the training pitch. He's a real leader. So you need characters like that. You need people that bring the energy and the enthusiasm to training sessions. That's been a really good thing to see from Matty because he's not been necessarily used on the pitch, but he is trained as if he's starting, and that's a huge thing for me. And it's so important you have players within your squad that fill their roles to the maximum that they can. And also, he's still got high quality. We did a training session a few days ago where I thought he was excellent. So if needed, he can play too.
Simon and then Joe. Simon?
Eddie, the results so far suggest that the team's adapted really well to the demands of the Champions League. Is that how it feels to you? And have you started to see what the team are learning from being in this environment?
Yeah, it's early days, I think, to draw too many conclusions, and that's why we have to stay very level. And not get carried away in terms of our perceptions of ourselves. We have to prove in these early stages of the Champions League that we're good enough. And I still feel need to be in that mindset going into this game. We have to start from zero every game. We have to impose ourselves on our opposition and do everything we can to try and win. Long-term conclusions and lessons that they will be sort of towards the end of the competition for me.
Joe and then Martin Hardy.
Hi, Eddie. Before the season, Jamal Lascelles talked about relying on Trippier and Bruno, players like that, for these big nights. Do you feel like Lascelles himself and the rest of the squad are learning how to adapt to the demands of playing in the Champions League against some of the continent's best teams?
I think with every experience we have, with every game, I think those experiences do all the players the world of good, because it is slightly new to us this season, the amount of games, the intensity of the games, the non-stop nature of then returning from one competition to another. So we're learning to deal and adapt to that. I've got to say, so far, the focus going into every game has been spot on from the players. They've been able to regroup, re-energise themselves and then deliver another performance. Now, that is the challenge for us, to maintain that and find that consistency as we go through the season.
Okay, time for three more. Martin first, then Oscar.
Hi, Eddie. I'm imagining at the start of the competition, if you'd had the chance of reaching 7 points by game 3, you would have snatched somebody's hands off, yeah?
Yeah, I'll agree with your terminology, yes, because I think with the Milan away being a really difficult game, and we experienced that, was a very tough game for us. We did really well to come out with a point in that game, and then the PSG game was a massive result for us, and now if we can follow that up again, that's our challenge. We'll be in a good position, but it's a big if at this moment in time, because we know the quality that Dortmund have.
And to follow up on Simon's question there, how far has the team evolved and how quickly and how well from them opening stages at the AC Milan game, which, as you said, was very difficult, to where you are now?
I'd like to think we're in a stronger position. I think we start with a bit more understanding of the dynamics and what's going to happen to us, what we're going through. But that's why I'm reluctant to draw too many long-term conclusions, because, as I say, we're still very early. This is only our third game, so this will be a big test.
Eddie, just going back to last night with Kevin and what Luke said, he said you could still win the Champions League and the league this season. He said it's possible, you've got to dream. How does that sit with you? Are you a dreamer too?
Yeah, I think you have to be a dreamer, but I think if I can try and add some context to what he was saying, he's saying you're in the Champions League, so you have a chance to win it. And I agree with that, because if you're in a competition, you have to have that mindset that you try and win. You try and win every game and then see where it takes you. That's very much my mindset. What I don't want to do is heap a load of pressure onto the players at a time when they don't need it, because they've got enough to deal with this season. So it's small steps, it's next game, and we know how big this one is.
What's the one thing you can take from meeting him that can help you in delivering that elusive first trophy, which is your stay today?
Trying to tie me down to one thing. I think that's difficult with Kevin, because I think he's such a charismatic person. I think that's probably the thing I took from him. Maybe he was full of laughter and jokes, really relaxed, but just seemed in a really good place in his life. And yeah, I think it's difficult to find one thing, but I just enjoyed being with him, and I'd love, as I say, to spend more time with him and bring him back to the football club.
Simon, just to finish.
How important is doing well in the Champions League in terms of putting Newcastle on the map as being an elite club in Europe in the minds of rivals and players for the future as you build?
Yeah, I think it's a byproduct of doing well in the competition. My aim and our aim is to try and win a trophy. I'm not shy of saying that that's the ultimate aim. Whatever competition that is, we'll try and do our best. But I think the better you can do in the high-profile competitions, then the more you can improve your name, your whatever it be, to whatever area that you're trying to reach. It can only help you.
Okay, thank you everybody. Sean will be with you very shortly. Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers. Nice to see you all. Ooh.
Where do I begin? Just there.
Just give it a second. Good afternoon. Keith, do you want to kick us off?
Sean, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all good. Are you?
Yeah, nice to see you. You were arguably man of the match over in Milan away. Crucial goal against PSG in the last game. Borussia Dortmund up next. How do you top that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, it's a competition I've watched since I was a little kid, and to finally be playing in it, I think it's just something that I'm trying to take in my stride. Obviously, got Trips next to us who I speak to a lot about it, and seems to help us through most games, to be fair. So yeah, like I said, I'm surrounded by a lot of good players who make the game a lot easier.
You're scoring a lot of goals at the moment. I think 3 in your last 5 matches. Is the confidence coursing through your veins right now? Is when the goal opens up, if you like?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think it's one of them where I try and get in attacking positions, and something I've sort of spoke about with the staff in terms of trying to get in the box a little bit more, and sort of luckily at the minute the ball's sort of falling my way and being able to put it in the net. But yeah, something I'm still working on, and yeah, just trying to, like I said, get in the box as much as possible and see what happens.
And it's not just any European games you're playing high level opponents here. Just give us a little flavour, if you can, as to the sort of the talk amongst you guys as players behind the scenes when you're playing the likes of Milan, PSG, scoring 4 against them, and then Borussia Dortmund with the colour and everything that will come with that match.
I think it's probably a bit more boring than you would think. I think we're quite sort of a mellow group, quite a group that just, we tend to chat about life more than football, to be honest, and I think that probably helps in terms of keeps us so close on the pitch, I would say, and yeah, probably puts less pressure on when coming into the games. I think if you're talking about it all the time, it might not be a good thing, but yeah, like I said, we're a quietly confident group, but we know we've got a lot of good players within the group, and yeah, we're not really scared to play against anyone, especially with the manager and the plans he puts in place. So I think it's another good game tomorrow night, one we're really looking forward to, and yeah, hopefully we can go and attack it like we did the last game.
Damien?
Sean, you're playing for the club you supported as a boy, you've played in the Cup final, you're playing in the Champions League. Do you have to constantly pinch yourself?
Yeah, considering probably where me and a lot of the lads were 2.5 years ago, I think even sitting in this position doing a press conference before a Champions League game seemed sort of nearly impossible, I would say. So I think now we're just sort of trying to enjoy the momentum and enjoy the good times, I would say. I think it's been a long time coming, and probably something that we didn't think would happen. So for us to be in this position now is a real privilege, and to get to experience sort of great nights in massive competitions is what every player wants, and yeah, like I said, one we're really grateful to be a part of.
Greg?
Are you aware, Sean, of all the talk around you with regards to England at the moment?
I've not spoken to my dad about it or my brother, so no, probably not. So if it doesn't come from them, then I tend not to say a lot of it, which is probably a good thing for me.
Well, there is a lot of talk, I'll tell you. What do you think of that? Is that an ambition? Do you think you're there, you're good enough?
To be fair, I look at that England group and sort of see top level players who've been at the top level for a long time, and like I said, I get to work next to Trips a lot, and sort of for me he's the pinnacle of our team. He's an international player who's played a lot of games, and yeah, like I said, it's not really something I look at. It's not really something I think about. There's a lot of good players in my position, and yeah, like I said, it's mostly just focusing on Newcastle and trying to play as well as I can here. It's been a long road to try and get in the position I'm in terms of trying to play as much as I can for Newcastle. So I think for my focus to sort of go anywhere else would be sort of not right, I would say. And like I said, all I want to do is play well for Newcastle, and whatever else happen will happen.
Lee, then Kieran.
Sean, your uncle Alan Thompson scored in the Champions League against Barcelona. Have you got any memories of that as a kid, or have you spoke to him about it, asked him for any tips? I know you've already got one goal in the Champions League, but a few memories on that.
Yeah, it's funny. I still remember going around his house and he's got Ronaldinho's top up, and yeah, probably never in a million years did I think I'd be playing the same competition, and it's yeah, it's really special. To be honest, I hadn't thought about that a lot before, and it's yeah, it's a really nice memory actually, because like I said, I remember going around his house and seeing the tops and seeing the top level players that he played against, and yeah, seeing the goal lots and lots of times, and yeah, it's probably something I hadn't really thought about, but probably should have.
And just obviously you spoke about the journey before the takeover and now after it. How good is it that there's so many familiar faces around still from before the takeover?
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it shows that there was still a lot of quality here before the takeover. I think we've been lucky to be able to find a manager who's sort of fitted our style, I would say, and he's sort of in a way taken the leash off and made it a little bit more attacking and a little bit more front foot, and yeah, I think we're just trying to repay him now. I think obviously in the Paris game, for I think what was it, three of the goal scorers to be here before the takeover was a massive thing, and yeah, like I said, we're in a position now where we're sort of enjoying the good times, and because it was tough in the past, but we're sort of past that now, and yeah, everyone's looking upwards, and yeah, really excited for what's to come.
Kieran, and then Simon.
Hi Sean, it's been a tough time for Sandro Tonali. Can I just ask you, as a dressing room, how you've supported him, and how is he since Saturday? Obviously it was an emotional afternoon for him.
Yeah, I think the way the fans took to him on Saturday was amazing, but I think everyone knew that would be the case. I think for Sandro, the way he's fitted in our group has been amazing. I think he's a top player first and foremost, but he's actually a better guy. I think there's sort of stuff going around, and people sort of, was he happy about being here and all that sort of stuff, which was sort of weird from within the group, because we sort of see him every day and how happy he is, and he's sort of laughing and joking with everyone, and yeah, we're just lucky that we signed a top player, and actually someone in my position, someone I used to watch a lot actually, and me and my brother used to speak about how good he was, and then suddenly he walked through the door at Newcastle and you think, oh, don't know if that's a good thing for me or not. But now, like I said, actually really get on well with them, and I think that's the same for the whole group, and he's just been a massive positive to our group, and yeah, like I said, we've sort of created a friendship, and yeah, just sort of a privilege to be around him every day and watch what he does and watch how he works, and yeah, you understand why he's so good.
Simon?
Hi Sean. You mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you'd done a bit of research with Mark Gillespie looking at YouTube about former great matches like the Feyenoord one. Have you been on YouTube just to check out what was happening 20 years ago and how you can emulate that?
I haven't actually. I think it was yeah, it was a DVD, wasn't it? That we used to, well, I remember having as a kid. I think it was 2002, 2003. I think it was called Flying High, wasn't it? And I remember watching that a lot. And yeah, like I said, there was some massive European nights on there, and sort of to now be doing the same thing however many years later is so special. And yeah, like I said, the club deserves to be in this position. The fans deserve to have nights like they had against Paris, and it's up to us now to create another special night tomorrow.
So that video was an inspiration to you, and maybe you can make another one for this season if you would do well.
Something like that. Yeah, it'd be good. It would be nice. I think as a group we're confident that we can achieve good things, and yeah, like I said, we've put ourselves in a strong position in the group now, and it's about sort of kicking on from the previous games, and yeah, seeing where that takes us.
Mine.
Hiya. You've said you sit beside Kieran Trippier in training, I assume. Is there one or two bits of advice that he's given you since he arrived, and would you have developed as well without him here?
To be fair, a lot of it's probably a lot more simple than you think. I think something as little as him saying that, sort of get in the box more, you're good enough to score goals. I think coming from him, he probably doesn't realise it, but it's a massive thing for me. When you look at what he's achieved in his career, and to whether he believes it or not, for him to sort of say those things, and that he believes I'm good enough to go and sort of play at top levels and have impacts on games is massive for my confidence. And yeah, like I said, we speak a lot during the games. He sort of coaches you through the games. He's a bit like the manager on the pitch. Yeah, he's a top player, he's a top person, and I don't think I probably would have developed as quickly without him sort of right next to us. He makes the game really easy, and yeah, a real pleasure to be around every day.
And was the PSG atmosphere the best you've played in, and how do you recreate that intensity against Borussia Dortmund?
I think any game we go into, we know we know our strengths, and we know we have to be good off the ball, and to get the crowd in the game we have to get after teams, and they're a really good side. We're obviously seeing clips on them, and obviously their two centre halves are really good on the ball, so it'll be difficult. So we've got to find a way to get after them and make it as difficult as we can. But we know that if we can nick a ball, make a tackle, the crowd's looking for anything to jump on, and yeah, it's about giving them something to, like I said, cheer for, and if they can sort of carry us home like they did against Paris, it'll be another good night.
Well, Dom and then Jacob.
Hi Sean, just as a player and as a fan, can it get any better than last time out here against PSG?
Yeah, look, it's up to us to go and create another night like the Paris night, and I think if we win the game, it'll be just as good a night. Like I said, it's going to be tough. They're a top side with some really, really good players in it. And yeah, a club that I think a lot of players admire. I think their fan base is sort of, I feel though it's similar to ours. We're two sort of similar clubs, and yeah, it'll be a great night. Like I said, two great sets of fans, a great atmosphere, and a night that all players want to be a part of. So for us, it's about trying to get after them, sort of trying to implement our strengths on the game, and see what happens.
And a really daft one, but I just wanted to give you the chance to address the rumours doing the rounds on social media about you going travelling.
I know the gaffer wouldn't give us a month off, so I was a bit gutted. Like, yeah, I don't really know what to say to it, to be honest. I think on one hand, I think it's a bit scary that sort of one person can write something that's not true, and then the amount of people that think it is true is nuts. Obviously my pals were telling us about it a bit, so I got a bit of a chuckle out of it, but yeah, it's probably not a good thing that someone can start a rumour and then a week later everyone thinks it's true. So yeah, I'm not sure what to say, to be honest.
Jacob.
Hey Sean, just going back to trying to get into the box more, like you mentioned at the start, you scored from like an underlapping run against PSG. I think a similar one against Southampton last season, and made that movement loads against Palace at the weekend. So I was wondering if you could just explain a bit more kind of how you think that part of your game's developed, and kind of how the coaching staff are helping you with those off-ball runs.
Yeah, I think it's sort of a massive part of the game now, I would say. I think if you watch, I think De Bruyne at City, a lot of his good work is sort of done from that run or from that movement. So I actually try to watch him a lot and see how he gets in there. And then with the coaches, they keep it quite simple. It's more about timing and probably not being too eager to get in there. I think in the past I've tried to make the run, but if you get in there so early, then you're not going to really gain anything from it. So it's about picking the right time and probably being a little bit more patient, I would say, as a team on the ball, and maybe looking for that option a little bit more, and instead of, if it's not on, going the other side straight away and stuff. And But it's all learning. Like I said, it's we're sort of transitioning from sort of front foot team in terms of winning the ball back, but we also want to control the game with the ball. And yeah, I think we've sort of doing some good early work with that, but we know we can improve. But yeah, like I said, there's lots of patterns and stuff that's really exciting for me to be a part of, and yeah, really enjoying it.
Cheers.
To Jordan and then Aaron on the front, please.
Hi, Sean. A simple one, really, but do you feel you're playing the best football of your career currently?
Yeah, look, I think it's no secret that it's definitely the most enjoyable period I've had in my career. I think it's probably up to the manager whether he thinks I'm playing well or not. But like I said, I'm in a team that I love being a part of. I love coming in and playing with this group of players every day. The fact that I can sort of wake up and be excited about coming in is something that I'm really grateful for, because obviously that wasn't always the case. And yeah, like I said, I'm loving every second of it. I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can, play for a smile on my face, and yeah, like I said, just trying to enjoy it more than anything. And a lot of the time, if you're enjoying it, you end up playing a lot better. So yeah, I think that's for other people to judge, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
It's a similar question, to be honest, Sean, but at the start of the season, Newcastle were obviously in a bit of a tricky situation. You come back into the team, they're now 7 consecutive games unbeaten. Do you feel now like you're probably playing the most important part in this team that you have done since you've been in the first team?
I think it's a hard question to answer. Obviously, we played against some top teams at the start of the season, so I think it was always going to be a difficult start. I don't actually think we played particularly badly. Maybe once at Brighton where we didn't hit the levels that we know we can do. But for me, it was just about watching from the side and seeing or knowing when I did get a chance, it was about trying to take that opportunity. I think, like I said, to be part of the group is really special, and it's such a strong squad that there's going to be competition, and you know you're not going to play every single game. So for me, it was just about watching and hopefully getting a chance. And like I said, got a bit lucky that you get a few good results when you come in the team, and probably people think you're better than you are, which is obviously good for me. But yeah, like I said, I think the whole team's playing well at the minute, and there's a lot of other players who are playing probably better than me at the minute who are keys to that.
I've got Mark and then the gentleman at the back to wrap us up, please.
You mentioned about seeing Ronaldinho's shirt with your uncle. Is it right that you got Mbappe's shirt and gave it to Kieran Trippier to give to his son last time?
No, it's definitely not true. I wasn't giving it away if I got it. No, he sort of beat us to it. I think I knew after the last game that there's quite a lot of interviews and stuff to do after the game, so I knew that someone else was going to nick it in that time, so I was a little bit gutted, but like I said, it was probably more important that night that I kept my top, and yeah, it was a culmination of a lot of years of hard work to get into that position, so looking back, it was probably a good thing that I kept mine.
So you kept yours as a kind of keepsake, was it?
Aye.
Yeah.
Oscar behind you, if that's right, Mark, please.
Just on Sandro, are you confident as a midfielder, as a team, that you will cope with any absence that does come?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we don't know what the outcome of the stuff with Sandro is yet, and yeah, like I said, we've got Joe Willock coming back, Joe Linton's back fit, and obviously Elliot's stepped up massively. Obviously, we've got the little superstar in Lewis Miley as well coming through, who I absolutely love, and hopefully he can maybe get a few more minutes as well. But I think the big one coming back is Joe Willock. I could sit here all day and sort of tell you how good he is, and even watching him in training this week, he looks like he's not missed a minute. So yeah, if anything, I'm just really excited to have Willie back. We know how important he is for us. I think the team plays its best when Willie plays, and he's able to sort of drift, and no one can do what he does in our team in terms of the way he moves with the ball and how confident he is with it. And yeah, like I said, more than anything, just really excited to have him back, and so hopefully he can show what he can do on the stage as well.
And last question at the back, please.
Hi, Sean. You said earlier on that go back 2 years, you didn't think you'd be sat here doing something like this. How are you and the group adjusting to those higher expectations of you now?
I think we'll probably just try and, like I said, not listen to a lot of the stuff from the outside. So I think as a group we have our expectations and standards that we have to hit. The manager sets them high, and ultimately if he's happy with where we're at, then I think as a group we're happy. It sounds a bit horrible, but sort of the stuff from the outside doesn't really bother her. Probably don't take much notice of it. But yeah, like I said, the manager sets such high expectations every day, whether that's a passing drill and sort of it's not at the right tempo, then he's on with straight away. And yeah, we've got really high expectations as a group. I said before, we're a really quietly confident group. We look around the change room and there's only better and better players coming in the door, and yeah, that's only going to make for a better team and a better sort of squad. And yeah, like I said, we know what we can achieve, but we also know that it starts with hard work, and yeah, we're not getting carried away with anything we've done so far.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.